Welcome to my Flosstube channel, Stitching Fleur. I'm Fleur and I'm going to be talking to you about my stitching today. It's been about 12 weeks since I last videoed. Life's been pretty hectic. I've got quite a bit of stitching in, so it's going to be quite a long video. So we'll be doing it in segments, and then I'll get my very hopefully competent videographer husband to piece it all together and make it look like it was meant to be like that. So I'm going to start with my works in progress. The first one that I'm going to show is actually complete. It is my Lakeside Needlecrafts Stitch Along Irresistible Insect Owl. It was done in conjunction with Little Beach Hut. I am stitching it, well, I stitched it, shall I say, because it is complete now. It's a short stitch along. It was a 3-month stitch along with each piece released every 2 weeks. The initial release had the border and the first insect, and then it went insect every 2 weeks after that. This is being stitched, or was stitched, shall I say. See, I keep mucking up. 28 count Celtic Christmas Jaslyn by Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. This is what it looks like. Should we get it the right way? This is what it looks like. So the border was the most intense part in stitching this particular piece. Quite a bit of back stitching and quarter stitches, but definitely gives it that element of nature, sort of sticks and flowers and bits and pieces. So that one is complete. So let's see, we've got the ladybug, the butterfly, the fly, the shield bug, the bumblebee, I can't remember what that one is. But they're the 6. So that's Lakeside Needlecrafts Irresistible Insect Owl in conjunction with Little Beach Hut, stitched on 28 count Celtic Christmas Jaslyn 2/2, all complete. It was fun to stitch. It's only a short stitch along, so it was easy to keep up with. The border's the most time consuming piece, so once I'd completed that, the bug that was released each month only took a day to do. Not even that, sometimes only an hour or 2. Nice easy one. The next one that I have is another Lakeside Needlecraft stitch along. It's the Under the Sea Cell. This is a year-long stitch along. It is in conjunction with Doreen Jones. She is the designer. When I showed it last time, I showed the first 3 parts, so another 3 had been released, and I have stitched them since. This one's being stitched 2/2 on 32 count Summer Breeze Jaslyn by Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. Let's just fold this over so you can't see the back. So when you saw it last, it had the octopus, it had the shark, and it had the fish. The submarine, the seahorses, and the jellyfish have been released over the last 3 months. Now, for this particular stitch along, there was a custom fabric that had the reflection of the ocean that you could purchase and stitch it on. That was the recommended piece, but I had this in my stash, so henceforth I use this. So it's coming out really good. It's really nice colour. I'm really happy with it. So that's still got another 6 months worth of releases to go. The next piece that I was working on is the Stitchrovia charity sale. It's in conjunction with Mind UK, so all the funds from each part that's released go to Mind UK. Now this one, I am stitching it on, so anyone who purchased the semi-kit from Casa Sanina for a Rezo by Nora Corbett would have received the beads and a piece of fabric, which was the Summer Khaki 32 count linen. I chose to stitch it on something else, as I've shown in a previous video, but the linen I chose to use for this particular charity sale because I think it really works well with all the corally type colours. So we're going to put a piece of paper because the linen obviously can see through it. So when you saw this one, I had done the first two releases. This might be a little hard actually to showcase. So the full quotes part, and it came out with the main header, the border, and the first quote, be yourself, everyone else is already taken. And then the next was have patience with all things, most of all yourself, was the second one. I'd completed that in the last video and was partway through the third release. In order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different. So I finished those ones, and then the last three that you haven't seen is this one here, released with the full background stitch. It's quite tedious. So this one is learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. That was really quick and not too bad to stitch. This one here, I really didn't enjoy stitching. I know I'm not the only stitcher out there. You might have seen a few posted up on Instagram with the same thoughts. This one was not enjoyable to stitch at all and took longer than any of the other quotes that I've actually done. So this one is the best thing to hold on to in life is each other. And then the last one that's just been released for June is do what you can with what you have where you are. Now the outside border of this particular piece, I'm not going to do until all the quotes are in, and then I'll just go around and put in the blue outline border and the silver grey colour. But so far, looking really good. Stitch on 32 count summer khaki linen, 2/2. So if anyone looking for that particular fabric, I got it as part of my semi kit with a reso that I purchased from Casa Sanina. But I'm sure you can pick it up anywhere. So that was that one. Okay, so the next piece that I've been working on over the last couple of months is my most popular piece, which is Death by Cross Stitch by Long Dog Samplers. It's like this. This one I'm stitching on 28 count deep burgundy even weave 1/1. I'm using DMC 822. I bought a cone because you do go through quite a number of skeins. It's cheaper to buy a cone. This one I special ordered from 123 Stitch. Cost me just under $20. That includes postage. I bought two at a time. I bought this one and the blue one that I'm using for my Haid Star Weaver. So DMC 822, it's not cream, it's like a dirty cream colour, vintage, antique type cream. And the fabric, I'm not sure how it will come up this time because obviously we're filming in a different location. I'm filming in the kitchen, hence the different scenery. So we'll see how the colour comes up. It is a deep burgundy. I've got pictures up on Instagram. I've taken a few and also posted them on Facebook if you're into social media. Okay, so when I showed it last, I'd done the far right side. So there's 16 pages to this chart and I had completed the 4. I'm going to hide this for a moment. So this was where it was at the last time I showed you in the first couple of weeks of March. So page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. I stitched from the right to the left. That is my preference. And this is 1/1 full crosses, 28 count, deep burgundy even weave. Gorgeous, rich, deep red colour, almost like a blood red, and the cream vintage 822. So since that video, I have done another page and a half, almost page and 3/4. So it's coming along really, really well. Let's see if I can fold this so you can't see behind. And it looks like this. So with this particular page that I'm working on now, you'll see the letter F for Fleur. And in the actual separate alphabet that's supplied by Long Dog Samplers, there's quite a bit of filigree work around it. But in the chart itself, it's really hard to decipher where the filigree sits. And I'm not sure if I'm going to put it in or not. I don't know if I want that additional filigree work around the F. I don't know if it's just going to overdo it a bit much. Would love to hear your thoughts. But But yeah, I think I like the simplicity of it, especially because there's so much filigree and back stitching in little other parts that maybe it might be nice just to keep the letters simple. But or maybe I'll just wait till the end and have another look at it and just see what I think. But yeah, so another page and 3/4, almost 2 pages finished on that one. So going great guns on that. And I also noticed today that Jules from Long Dog Samplers released a new one called Life After Death. Pop a picture in here so you can see it. Amazing. So maybe I'll do that one after death and maybe do it in contrast colours. So maybe do it in DMC 815 and then make the fabric the same colour as the DMC 822 that I'm using currently. That might be a nice little companion piece for Death by Cross Stitch. So that was that one. Now another thing I said I was going to do in my last video is I have a whip in waiting. It is Angel of Hope by Lavender and Lace. It's being stitched on, let me just grab it for you, 32 count Jack's Rum Lugana by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. Now when I stitched this, when I first pulled it out and put the first few stitches in, I stitched all the good bits. I stitched her head, back stitched it, finished it completely. I stitched the beautiful royal blue ribbons that run down her dress. I also popped in some of the red and green floral pieces around the bottom and left all the white and off-white bits to do last. So now I'm having to do that tedious task of stitching relatively the same colours till it's complete, which can be a little bit mind-numbing. So my proposal was to do 100 white stitches each month, and if I did that then I would have it completed by year's end. Well, I've done more than 100 stitches and I've managed to complete the top half, so I will show you what I have done. So this is Angel of Hope, like I said, by Lavender and Lace. So I've managed to complete her full wing on this side here, and I have put her harp in and finished her bodice. So I've just got another bottom of her arm. So what I've done on this one, let's just break it down a bit further. Okay, so I have done the wing, finished the arm, popped in the gold. This DMC gold is quite difficult to work with. There are places where it calls for 4 strands of this gold metallic. It's quite tedious to work with, so it took me a few goes. I don't know that I'm 100% happy with the actual strings of the harp, but they're good enough for now. I'm not going back there at this point. So put in the harp, put in the gold Krennic, it's not Krennic, it's DMC metallics, finished off her sleeve, finished off the wing and all the little veins within the wing itself, down her bodice and the other side of the blue. So there's another arm, another wing, and then the rest of her dress. So I'll just show you the full, so you can see what I have currently. So that's where she's at the moment. So I'll keep going, stitching all the white, getting the other wing in as I go. It's not a priority, but I want to get it done by the end of the year. So 100 stitches is not a lot to do in a month for this particular project. So that's that one. So that was another whip that I worked on. A few other whips that I've done. One, our youngest had his birthday this month, earlier this month, and he's into Assassin's Creed. So I decided to don't mind the feral animals in the background. Okay, so our youngest, yes, had his birthday earlier this month. Holy crap! So our youngest had his birthday at the beginning of this month, and he is really into Assassin's Creed. So I went onto the Clouds Factory website and I purchased the Assassin's Creed piece, which looks like this. No, I know nothing about Assassin's Creed, but this is a piece that I knew that he would absolutely love. and I pulled a piece of just excess fabric that I had from doing one of my hairs. It's a 25 count light taupe Lugana. And when I first stitched it, I stitched it over 2. So 2 over 2 on 25 count Lugana. It looked terrible. It was holey. You could see the fabric coming through. It just looked very, for lack of a better word, juvenile. So I decided to scrap that. I unpicked it all. I don't generally frog my pieces. I try and not make mistakes if I can help it. So what I did is I took it all out, frogged it all out, and I decided to do it 1 over 1. But rather than doing it 1 over 1 and having it really, really small, I did it 1 over 1 but twice the size. So for one block of 25 count, I did 4 as a representation. So if it was 1 block on the pattern, it was 4 squares on the 25 count. So 2 over 2, twice the size, 1 over 1 on 25 count, light taupe Lugana. And then I turned it into a pillow because I sort of thought that that might be a little better. It's nice to have frames, and as I've said in previous videos, it's hard trying to chase space in the house to hang things up. So this sort of works, and it's nice to do something a little bit different. So I did. So this is the Assassin's Creed by Cloud's Factory. It's kind of really, really good. For the dotting of the eyes, for the dotting of the eyes, and for the beads on the coat on this one here, I use beads just to give it a little bit of texture. It's a bit of fun for a young kid to have something that's tactile that you can actually feel and touch. And I just whip this up on my overlocker. It's just red material, nothing fancy, filled with hobby fill from Spotlight, and he loves it, and that's the main thing. Has it every night, loves it, uses it. Really, really nice. That was done. That's a finish. So I did that pretty quickly. Probably took me about 3 weeks to actually stitch it, and then a little bit of time to work out what I was going to do with it. Mucking my husband around again. I got him to spray a frame up for me to put it into, but it just, the framing, it's just for his age as well, it just didn't seem right. I couldn't fit it into the back. It wasn't deep enough. I didn't have time to get it professionally framed. It probably wouldn't hang in his room either, because obviously we have, without showing you their rooms, we don't really have the space for hanging things up on the wall. But the cushion works well, and he loves it, so that's the main thing. So I did that one too. Alright, so the next whip that I've been working on is one that was a whip in waiting, and I pull it out every now and then to pop a few stitches in when the mood hits me. It is a piece by Cottage Needleworks. It is called Afternoon in London. I've done the Afternoon in Paris, as I've showed in the previous video. It is being stitched 1 over 1. So it's very small, very tiny, but that's how I want to do all the series. I mean, there's Afternoon in Paris, Afternoon in London, Afternoon in New York, and Afternoon in Rome that have been released. Be good to see an Afternoon in Australia. That would be fabulous. Just putting it out there. But this one I pulled out coincidentally on the morning of, that we heard here in Australia, of the terrorist attacks in London. In Manchester at the Ariana Grande concert. So I pulled it out and I put a few more stitches in, so I'll just show you what it looks like. So this is on 32 count sapphire linen, 1 over 1. So I've finished the red telephone box, the guard, and started the beginning of, I think it's Buckingham Palace. Yes, that is an eagle at the bottom of my project. It's on the border, so it's fine. So I put a little bit in that. Happy with that. Like I said, it's not one that's really a priority. I just pull it out when the mood hits. So I've done a little bit more on that, and I'll continue to do that. Now my next piece is one that I absolutely love. Everyone knows I love it. It is quite tedious on my hands, as any Heaven and Earth design is, purely because of the amount of stitches that we put into it. But it is my first love. I love them. I love the confetti. I love the fact that you can stitch this piece and you're stitching so close to it, it looks pixelated. So it looks like one of those magic eyes when you're looking at it and you just can't see anything. And it's not until I either sit back and take a photograph that I go, wow, I can see it appearing. I can see the clouds forming. I see the color of the sky. I can see the graduation down to the sea line. It is phenomenal. But it is taking me a bit of time because obviously I can only stitch for certain periods of time, certain lengths of time. I strap my hands when I stitch, which most people know or see in my images, unfortunately. So this one is my Heaven and Earth design, Fingers of God, by my husband, Jeff Pritchard of Golden Orb Designs. So this is what it's supposed to look like, but we can do better than that. So my husband will pop a photo in now of what the photo looks like. Okay, so this one's being stitched on 25 count Easy Guide, which was very graciously gifted to me from Michelle at Heaven and Earth Designs. This is where it's currently sitting. So exciting. So I've done one partial page and I've almost finished this page here. This is what it looks like. Isn't it awesome? Can you see those clouds starting to come across? Insert squeals. Really, really excited. Absolutely elated to see how far it's come. It's just coming, it's just amazing. Just to see it starting to appear, those clouds, the amount of colours that make up. There are a lot of colour changes in this. There is a lot of confetti, but for so much work, the results are just so worth it. Like for anyone that does a Heaven and Earth design that has a lot of heavy confetti will know that you just think, if you don't love confetti, like taking regular photos of your Heaven and Earth designs, or any full coverage piece really, is what will keep you going, because you might only stitch for 10 minutes and think, I've just put 50 stitches in and I can't see anything. But then you take a photo and you can start to see it appear. You know, when you start to question whether or not a certain colour goes in that particular location, some of the colours in this particular piece, it's like, oh, I don't know if you can put those colours in the sky, but it works and it looks fabulous. I love it. So that's Fingers of God by Jeff Pritchard. Let me show you the booty, the back. Look at this. Look at all this fabric sitting in the bottom of my Q-snap. Just so you can see how I construct my Q-snaps and pop in my Heaven and Earth design pieces, because they do have quite a large quantity of fabric. I mean, that's pretty tightly rolled. This Q-snap has been made extra deep when I bought it several years back. I've had these for quite a while. These are my favourite. But yeah, this is how I do it. Fold them in, roll them up, squish it in the back. Works perfectly. And the felt, of course, underneath the snaps. Put it in there. And my Clay by Kim needle minder. Favourite little ladybug. Keeping my needles safe there. I get a lot of questions about that. They have the funky little backs on them as well. So that's really cool. So that was my last whip that I've been working on. So that's what I've been doing for the last 3 months, is all these whips. So now we're going to move on to one other sal that I've almost forgotten about, because it is one that it's not a priority. I don't pop it in my rotation. Again, I don't have a strict rotation, but I don't pop it in my rotation. I just pull it out when the mood hits me as well. It's a 14-month stitch along from Reflect Soie. It's the Mystery Roses sampler. I just picked up some cream linen from Spotlight, which is our local fabric haberdashery type store here. And I bought some Cottage Garden threads. I've been looking for a project to use Cottage Garden threads. They're fantastic threads. They're pre-cut lengths, which is really fantastic. So if you take it somewhere, you don't have to worry if you forget your scissors, because you can just stitch until you run out of thread. It is being stitched with Cottage Garden Threads 708 Plum Pudding. It will go through quite a few skeins. On the actual chart itself, it states that you need at least 100 meters worth of thread. So it gives you a bit of a gauge of what it is. It's all roses. Now I've amended it a little bit. It had naked cherubs on either side of the trestle pole thingies. just show you what it looks like. This is where it's at. So when you saw it last, I just done the top and the poles down here, and I've since done the first installment, which is the roses here. Just that middle border there, the roses in the middle, and the border on the side here. Now like I said, I've taken out the naked cherubs that sit on either side of these poles here, and I will add the vines back in. And I'm also going to put my own quote, so I'll chart a quote in there, something along the lines of, remember to stop and smell the roses, because every piece that's been released so far, obviously it's a roses sampler, is different roses, single roses, groups of roses, circle of roses. It's beautiful. So that is Reflector Soie, that's been stitched on 32 count cream linen with Cottage Garden Thread 708 Plum Pudding. And that is my last whip that I have used this month. So now we're going to move on to a stitch back in time. Okay, so welcome to Stitch Back in Time. This is my last two pieces that I can showcase. They are both Nora Corbett Pixies. I don't have the cards for them because the charts have since been passed on. So the first one that I have is Holly. These are some of the first pixies that I ever stitched of Nora Corbett's. This is stitched on 32 count white, plain white, even weave, Lugana. I stitch all my Nora Corbett's 1/1 skin. I don't stitch my mirrors 1/1, I stitch them 2/2. So this is Holly. So as you can see, back stitching is not so great down the bottom, obviously getting used to the Nora Corbett's and how they all sit together, but I love the colours and I love Christmas stitching, so this works really well for me. So that's Holly, 32 count white Lugana. And then the other pixie that I did is Bluebell, also stitched on 32 count white Lugana. This one looks like this, and again the skin is 1/1, 32 count white Lugana, and that's Bluebell from Nora Corbett's Pixie Collections. And they're the two Stitch Back in Times. So in the last 3 months, from the last time I videoed, I was lucky enough to win a giveaway on Stitcherista's Flosstube video, Danielle, and it was a $50 voucher to Down Sunshine Lane. Now within an hour of Danielle letting me know that I had won, Down Sunshine Lane had emailed me the gift voucher, so I decided to go shopping. I purchased a couple of charts and I purchased a light. My stitching light, that I normally have, I will be replacing in November because that's when stock comes in for it. So I'm very excited about that. So in the interim I needed something to use for stitching because the normal lights in the house are not bright enough. So I bought a Mighty Bright Light. Hammerhead. It looks like this. You've probably seen them before. I've also had them in my videos. So they have like 2 settings. 1, 2, and off. Now you can buy the recharging cord for it. I didn't. I just bought the light itself, and it uses AAA batteries. It uses 3 AAA batteries, but you go through batteries like crazy. So just for anyone that's maybe looking at that, I would recommend that you buy the charging cord. I can put batteries in, it will last me 2 stitching sessions, so 2 nights, with 3-4 hours worth of stitching. So 8 hours worth of stitching, and my batteries are pretty low and not as effective. So it does chew through batteries like you wouldn't believe. So I would get the charging cord. But it is a fantastic light. When it's got the batteries in it, the lights are on. The next thing that I got with my gift voucher was Heartstring Samplery's Coffee Saves Lives, the Magical Elixir series. This is the part 1. You may have seen a lot of people stitching part 2, the Coffee Quaker one. I'm not OCD, but I just like to stitch things in sequence. So I purchased this one. I'm looking forward to stitching this one probably next year. I'm still deciding on fabric colour that I want to do it on, and probably a few thread colour changes as well. because I like to change things up. So that's that one. The second chart that I got is Cross Stitch Nation by Heartstring Samplery. I've been eyeing this one up for a little while, so it was awesome to be able to purchase this one. Now I'm going to do quite a few changes to this one. So the fabric I'm going to stitch this on is the bark linen, the same linen that I used for the needle worker that you can see in a previous video. I'm also going to change the threads. So there's going to be quite a few changes in this. So instead of the red borders that you see across the bottom, I'm going to do it in a navy blue. I'm going to change the floral pattern up the top to different colours. And the people in it, I'm going to modernise a bit. Add a few men in there because you know there's only one man in between all those women there. I'm also going to put in varying heights, different hairstyles and clothing. So that's going to be a lot of fun to do. I probably will either do this in December this year or early next year. It shouldn't take too long to stitch up once I've worked out what it is that I want to change, how I want to amend it, and the different people. So it's going to be exciting. Looking forward to it. So that's that one. Now the other chart that I ordered was the new, at the time, Lizzie Kate release called If You Live to Be 100. It's the famous quote from Winnie the Pooh, if you live to be 100, I want to live to be 100 minus 1 day. So I never have to live without you. But unfortunately, Down Sunshine Lane sent 100 years. If you haven't seen this one before, Teresa, Little Stitcher in the UK, she's currently stitching it at the moment. It's a beautiful chart, it just doesn't speak to me. I really wanted this particular chart. I did send off and say that it was an error, and they were fantastic, so don't get me wrong. The customer service at Down Sunshine Line, very quick to post, very easy to communicate with. They are in the US and we are in Australia, so there is such a big difference in time. So the service was really, really fantastic. She was very gracious. She said that I could either give it away or keep it for myself, and she would send the other one in the post. But I chose to send it back. But as yet have not received it. But that's okay. I would still recommend Down Sunshine Lane for anyone who maybe hasn't used them or hasn't heard of them. I don't know how you wouldn't have heard of them, but anyway. Anyone that hasn't heard of them, I'll pop the link below. Really, really fantastic, and very grateful for the win from Stitcherista. So thank you very much. Hope you're doing okay, Danielle. So, what am I going to work on? Now, coming up in the next month or two, it is pretty busy. It's that time of the year. It's the end of the financial year. It's busy work-wise. So between work commitments and kids and husband, stitching time is limited. I'm also limited with my hands. I'm not wearing my Spence today, being a bit of a rebel and going rogue. And I'm still awaiting to see a surgeon at the moment, so that will be at the end of this month, and then we'll see what goes from there. I have to try and fit it in with everything that's going on. For those that were asking, my husband is doing better. It's still a very long recovery. He is without crutches, which is good, but still a long way to go. Long way to go. So it's been really busy, really, really busy. But for those who are curious as to what I will be doing over the next month anyway, I will be finishing off my Fingers of God, so just finishing up that page. I'm hoping to get that done by weekend's end. It's currently Saturday here in Australia, so hopefully I'll have that finished by the weekend. I'll be really excited about that. And then I'm going to change over to my Star Weaver piece, so it looks like this. For those who haven't seen my previous videos, it is Star Weaver by the late Tom Cross. And this was a restart. When I originally stitched it, stitched the entire top row of this Heaven and Earth design in this gorgeous blue 995, and at the time was a bit amateurist and didn't realise that you would have to buy, with buying multiple skeins, you have to be aware of the die lot numbers, especially if you're doing such a large piece, because when you're looking at the skeins, you might think, oh yep, no, all good, fantastic. If you don't check the die lots and you're doing them in parts like that, as I've shown in previous videos, you'll see the colour change. So within the same DMC number, so I was stitching the 995, and I had used a different die lot. So unfortunately at the time I wasn't aware of this. I don't know why. I'd never really used that amount of skeins in one piece. and so I scrapped it. And it has been years since I picked it up again. It is my first Heaven and Earth design that I ever chose to stitch, and so I am determined to have that stitched up. So I started it again this year. I've completed one page already, and so I'll be doing the second page. I'll probably start that in July sometime, see how far I can get with that. I know Anne P, Little Bird Stitcher on Instagram, but Anne P on Flosstube, so check her out. She's doing the story keep, so it's like the bookmark size, but not really a bookmark. It's quite a large, long piece. Going great guns. She's about halfway, 3/4 of the way through. Been keeping track of it on Instagram. It's really good to watch. It's inspiring. It makes me want to pick my piece up. So that is one piece that I'll be doing in July. For those of you that would like to know what I'm up to, I'll also be trying to work a bit more on Fingers of God. I really want to get into that piece, but it is quite tedious on the hands. I'll finish up the page that I'm working on currently with Death by Cross Stitch and pick up another page. That will get me 4, 5, 6, 7 pages in, which is great, out of 16, so that's coming along really, really well. And obviously my stitch alongs, so I'll be doing the they are released generally on the 1st of the month. The Under the Sea sale is released on the 2nd of the month, so I will be completing those, and I may even put another stitch in my Roses sampler. We'll see how we go. I just wanted to do a couple of shout outs as well. So for those of you who may be new to Flosstube or new stitchers and you're not aware of these people, it's important to throw out a few Flosstube names for people to check out. It helps us to be inspired by different people, see how people do things differently, try new things. That's my thing this year. Try new things. So Abby Bella Stitch, I think everyone knows Abby, but she is hilarious. I love watching her. And if you haven't seen her on Instagram, she has changed her hair colour. It's awesome. Tash the Star-Crossed Stitcher, she's an Australian. She did little mini videos during Stitch Mania. We stitch on something different every day for 15 days. Some people did it for a month. She's great to watch. A new Flosstuber, Weasley Studios. They were really good. They're so cute together. Also Kellyanne, I love watching Kellyanne. Ashley Marie Golden, I love her videos. She's so upbeat. Bendy Stitchy, Michelle Garrett, she's great to watch. And I just wanted to say to Jay from Mortuary Stitches, I hope that you're doing okay. I hope that you can feel the big squishy hugs from here in Australia and that you're doing okay. And I also wanted to do a shout out to a new Flosstuber who lives within the same area as what I do here in Australia. I know, crazy, right? Someone actually lives close by that stitches. Is Stitcher Bella. So that's Sarah. She's just put out her first Flosstube video. We all know what it feels like to do that first video, and you're a bit worried about how people are going to take you and whether anyone's actually going to watch. So please go and show us some Flosstube love. Check her out. Now there's a couple of other things that I was just going to mention. I know not everybody does this. All the pieces that I have, I stitch. I don't give up on anything, even if I hate it. Because, you know, I stitched it for a reason, and then that's why I started it. I love my Noras and I love my Mirabillas, but there was one Nora Corbett that I was truly excited to see be released, and that was Wisteria. Looks like this. Part of the Pixie Blossoms collection by Nora Corbett. Now in this one, I think so anyway, the picture looks purple, and that's sort of how I remember Wisteria. Like my Nana, that's sort of my fond memories, is she used to have a wall of Wisteria, and it was just, when I think of Wisteria I think of her. She's still alive, but I think of her. So I really wanted to stitch when it came out. Laurie was the model stitcher, so it was really great to see it, and looking at it I thought, excellent, it looks just as, you know, it's beautiful. So I picked up a piece of Lavender Bliss. It was just a piece of excess fabric in my stash, and I started stitching it. Now I haven't posted any photos anywhere, on Instagram, on Facebook, or anything like this. It is great to stitch. It looks like this. I'll show you first before I tell you. So it looks like this. So I stitched the skin over one. It's almost complete. putting the beads in, got the, so she just needs a head, some feet, her shoes, just the end of the trail of flowers of her gown. She's pretty much done. But she's not purple, she's blue. Can you see throughout her dress that she's predominantly blue rather than purple? Now rather than stopping when I had seen that as I was stitching it that it was becoming up more and more blue with little hints of purple, which is great, rather than stopping and thinking I'll convert the bluey colours to purple and making it as I thought it was, I didn't. So I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm almost considering getting rid of it because it's not the way that I thought it would be. Have you ever had anything like that? Have you ever had a piece where you've seen the, and like obviously the pictures on any Noras and Miriam Billers, they just, it doesn't do them justice. So you never know really whether the colours are going to be richer, which they generally are. They really, really pop and they look fantastic. But I don't know, maybe I just had a preconceived idea before I went into it. And rather than going, no, these colours don't look right, I kept stitching and now she's like 3/4 done. I should probably just finish her and frame it, but I don't know. Just the feelings that I have about it is not the way that I thought it would be. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. What would you do? Would you give it up and hide it in a box somewhere? Or would you just keep going and get it done and maybe give it away? I don't stitch things twice, so I won't be stitching this one again. And maybe I'll quickly pass on the chart to someone else because of the way that I feel about it. I know, I'm weird. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you that and maybe just question as to whether anyone else has been through that, where you've stitched something up and it's a different colour and you've sort of thought, okay, I'll keep going and maybe it'll get better, maybe it'll make sense once it's done. On this occasion it hasn't for me. But I'd love to hear your insight into it. So that was Wisteria by Nora Corbett. It's a beautiful piece, don't get me wrong. The chart, Nora does amazing work and there's nothing wrong with the chart whatsoever. It's just the colouring for me and my preconceived idea before I did it was the problem. A couple of other things that I have is, as I've shown, I think in my first or second video, I have Roses Blanches, which is White Roses by Reflector Soir. It looks like this. And I bought a piece of Country Blue 28 count linen that looks like this. It's like concrete. Like, I don't know if you've seen Tracy P's video where she was showing a piece of fabric that's like, you could build a house with that. It's just that stiff. Anyway, I was going to stitch it with the B5200, the really nice bright white from DMC, but for me white doesn't have great coverage with DMC, so I'm like, oh, what could I do instead? So I did consider doing it with the S5200, which is the satin. I really like the look of the shiny thread, shiny white on it, but then I'm thinking, shiny white on Country Blue, it just doesn't give it the look that I want. I want it to have that sort of, that feel that you see in the picture. So I'm thinking maybe I should try Gloriana's Winter White. I don't know anyone out there that's maybe tried Gloriana's white, the Winter White thread. If you have, please let me know. I'd love to have a chat with you about it. I just want to know whether or not it's going to suit what it is that I'm going to do. They don't sell it locally. They don't sell it at our local stitching store, which is up in the city, Stitches Corner. I may have a chat to Tanya at Colour Cascades to see whether or not she can give me a recommendation, or if anyone else has any ideas. I do want to stitch it with white. I don't want another or alternative colour choice. I do want to do white on the Country Blue as it is in the picture. So if you have any ideas, because I would really like to start stitching this one in December. I like to get a few pieces out before the end of the year. So that's Reflector Soir White Roses, looking for thread options in white. Another thing that I did on Instagram, and this is my last piece to this video, for those who have stuck through, thank you very much. I put out a post on Instagram asking people, I like to stitch a mirror a year. So last year I did Aphrodite, and she turned out beautifully. I couldn't stitch for 8 months of last year. I picked her up in September and had her finished pretty much within about a month and a half. Love it. She looks fantastic. The shell, holy crap. Whoops! I was supposed to swear. Can you like bleep that out?
Nope. Oh no.
No? Okay. So on Instagram I did the sort of like a little voting of whether or not to do the Mermaid of Atlantis or Mermaids of the Deep, which is the two sisters swimming next to each other. I think we've got the here. This one and this one. So I kit a mermaid up in August. I do a little bit of stash enhancement in August, so once a year I splurge a little bit and get some. So in the end, I've decided to go for Mermaid of Atlantis. Thank you everyone for your help. They will both eventually get stitched. This one will be this year. Mermaids of the Deep will be next year. The Mermaid of Atlantis, just to give you a heads up, I'm stitching on Lunar Eclipse on 28 count Jaslyn by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. Looks like this. And that's the one that I'll be kitting up in August. So that will be the Mermaid from Mirabilla Designs that I will be stitching up this year for 2017. The Mermaid of Atlantis. Really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that. So that's it. That's my plans. That's what I've been doing for the last 3 months. That's what's happening. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. For the likes, the comments, for the subscriptions. Thank you very much for sticking with me. I know it's been quite a bit of time between videos. I will try and get another one done by the end of July. But again, it just depends on life. Depends on what's happening. But thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. And I will see you next month. Thank you very much. Bye.